valid June 22nd through July 13th. U.S. only. Gas range extra. See store for details.
With GMF financing, approved credit excludes Corvette and prior sales.
There's big news just announced from Bennett Chevy in Egg Harbor Township. Bennett's got huge savings on every new Chevy in stock. And right now, this is huge. Bennett's paying a record-breaking minimum $10,000 for any trade, running or not. That's at least 10 grand towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And we're loaded with them, so we're having a pre-owned liquidation. Hurry in for a minimum 10 grand for even the worst trade.
And just think how much more you'll get for a good quality trade.
As for new Chevys, unlike other dealers, Bennett's not selling over a factory sticker. Plus, there's 0% available financing. Stuck in a lease? We can get you out early, any make, any model, and we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one of ours. Stop in for a quick quote. Never any pressure, never any obligation,
Because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend.
So come on and find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
South Jersey's play-by-play home for the Eagles,
Touchdown!
Sixers, and Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
We are counting down to the start of the NBA draft, which is almost the de facto start to the NBA offseason, as the Kyrie Irving saga takes a new turn and involves, well, way more than I ever expected. We'll get into that. Plus, Phillies back in action tonight. They've lost 3 straight. They're in San Diego tonight to take on the Padres. So a little late night Phillies action for those of you on the East Coast who want to watch the game. Phillies are out in San Diego. Plus, we will talk about Stanley Cup Finals controversial ending. Well, we'll discuss. All here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Steve Buchanan from DraftKings talk baseball with us coming up in less than 20 minutes from now. So we'll save a lot of the Phillies and baseball talk for that. You can join the conversation as always at 609-403-0973 on the text board. 609-403-0973. Also, you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free, thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. Of course, you can always join the conversation via the app. Get all the latest news on the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, South Jersey high school sports, and more about life in South Jersey, all with the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's more than just something to listen to the show on the app. All right, let's get to this Kyrie stuff, because this popped off about I want to say less than 2 hours ago at this point is when Woj dropped the latest bombs, right? So for those who haven't been following the situation very closely, here's the gist of it, all right? Kyrie Irving and the Nets are at an impasse right now. Kyrie's original intent was to sign a new long-term deal with the Nets and stay with his buddy Kevin Durant with the Brooklyn Nets. Then today, Woj takes the whole Kyrie, will he stay, will he go, situation at a level, because Shams reported a couple days ago that basically the Nets, they don't want to give Kyrie guaranteed money. They want to give him one of those contracts that makes him, as Mike Gill would call it, show up for work, right? Well, today, Adrian Wojnarowski, ESPN NBA insider, put out this. If Kyrie Irving can't reach an agreement to stay with Brooklyn, he has a list of teams he like the Nets to consider a sign and trade with. The list includes the Lakers, the Clippers, the Knicks, the Heat, the Mavs, and the 76ers. Now, none of those teams have the cap space to sign Kyrie outright. So that's the first problem. So you're going to need the Nets to be involved. But Woj also goes on to say a couple other things. Number one, he says that those are the teams who Kyrie has interest in, but Kyrie himself isn't necessarily a priority for all of those teams. So it's one of those Kyrie is interested in them, but they might not be interested in Kyrie the same way he's interested in them. You might be interested in that lady, but maybe she is interested in you as you are in her, kind of deal. All right. Woj goes on to report that this is the sum of the Nets' deepest fears, that Kyrie would walk and Durant wants a trade. Because remember, Durant and Kyrie came as a group package. Okay, this was a package deal that Kyrie and Durant wanted to play together. Remember, the reporting is that when it was Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant, that Durant chose Kyrie over James Harden. He has been behind Kyrie every step of the way. From day one, Kyrie and Durant have been arm in arm, side by side, thick and thin, and whatever you want to call it. So the Nets are playing with fire here. And it sounds like, based on that, and then Shams' follow-up report today, that Durant is watching this situation very closely with the Nets. It really feels like that the Nets either have to give Kyrie what he wants or get rid of both guys. Because there's no reason for Durant to want to stay in Brooklyn. And the irony of all this is Ben Simmons on a fishing boat somewhere fishing, taking Instagram shots of himself. Here's the reason why Kyrie is interested in the teams that he listed. Okay, because I know some of you out there are saying, why the 76ers? Well, let's go team by team. He's interested in the Lakers because of LeBron. Him and LeBron mended fences. They're friends again. Okay. And I'm sure that there's a lot of chatter out there that Kyrie would be fine with reuniting with LeBron, and LeBron liked the idea of Kyrie next season over Russell Westbrook. The Clippers, that basically comes down to, Kawhi and Paul George are two guys who are not going to basically make Kyrie uncomfortable. Kawhi almost doesn't say anything, and PG-13 would love to have a guy to pass the ball to sometimes. I think the Clippers are the one that has the least amount of connective tissue at this point. The Knicks make sense because Kyrie, he's from North Jersey. He loves New York. Why not go to the other New York team? And if you're Madison Square Garden and the New York Knicks, you would do anything to get Kyrie. You would sacrifice everything and anything to get that guy because that's box office power right there. You don't even care if you win games anymore. You got one of the best players on the planet to play for your team and leave the Nets as well. The Miami Heat, we all know what that's about. Knowing state income tax, nice weather, nice city. Mavs, same deal. No state income tax, cool city. And in both those situations, you're playing next to somebody else who will take the tension away from you. In Dallas, it's Luka. In Miami, it's Jimmy Butler. Here's why Philadelphia's on the list. I think it's as simple as Kyrie would like to be, if he could play near home, let's play near home. I don't think we should, read too much into it. I think it's as simple as that. I think it's as simple as Kyrie saying, hey, I wouldn't mind playing for the Sixers. But that also suggests to you that the feud, the rumored feud, I should call it, between him and Harden was pure speculation. Harden and Kyrie, since the trade happened, have both downplayed that they don't like each other. Okay? What hasn't been downplayed is that apparently Kyrie and Harden both don't like the head coach, Steve Nash. So keep that in mind as we go through all this as well. But the Kyrie situation is going to loom over the draft tonight because tonight is really the unofficial start of the offseason. This is usually when teams start making trades, moving players, moving picks, getting deals done, having conversations. And it's also the peak of most assets. A draft is when I know exactly what pick I'm trading. I know exactly what asset I'm getting in return. It's a different vibe than the rest of the offseason when you're trading future picks. And for the 76ers, they have a 23rd overall pick. I feel very confident saying that Daryl Morey is going to move that pick. Now, whether he picks a player before he trades it, that's a different story. There's a very strong possibility that Daryl Morey picks a player for somebody else before trading away that pick. So I think the 76ers are going to make a move on some level tonight. I don't think it'll involve Kyrie. I think Kyrie is trying to get between the Shams report and the Woj report as much information out there as possible to pressure the Nets into making a decision with him. I think ultimately Kyrie wants to stay with the Nets. You're reading in between the lines. It really comes down to the guaranteed money. The Nets don't want to give him a guaranteed contract because of Kyrie's history. And I know for some people in the national media, one of them is over my shoulder on TV right now. Kyrie's vaccination status is a sore spot for some of these people. But I think for the Nets, it's less about the vac status than it is about the big picture. The big picture is that when other things have happened in the world, Kyrie has been more interested in those things than basketball. He has prioritized his world outside of basketball over basketball. Kyrie has himself said multiple times, basketball is not the most important thing to me in the world. Okay? Kyrie is a guy who, when what happened on January 6th in Washington, D.C. last year, he had issues with it. He had to take a day off. He couldn't go to work for a day. It messed him up, he said. Kyrie's the same guy that when, there were shootings of people who were African-American or black or, whatever race it may be, when people who were not, of different ethnicities were shot and killed, Kyrie had to take a day off. Kyrie is a guy who's very passionate about his personal beliefs outside of basketball. And I think for the Nets, they're saying, look, we are paying you millions of dollars to play basketball. We understand that you may be impacted by these different shootings and these different incidents in the world. Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and all these different things. Okay, I'm sure I'm forgetting something because there's honestly been so many shootings. People have died in recent years. You can put your finger on almost any of them and have that be the thing that set you off, quote unquote, if you're Kyrie. But for the Nets, they're saying, look, we want to pay you to be here. And if you can't be here, we don't want to pay you. And I think Kyrie's like, that ain't cool. I negotiated as a part of these CBA conversations between the NBA, PA, and the league for us to have these guaranteed contracts. Now you would take the guaranteed contract away from me. I think Kyrie knows the system as well as anybody's trying to work it. But for the Sixers, you can't worry about Kyrie. You got to worry about your own business. If you're the 76ers, you got to worry about, hey, we got the 23rd overall pick. We got Matisse Thybulle. We got Danny Green's expiring contract. We got other things to concern ourselves with than if Kyrie doesn't want to be here. Because he ain't on our team right now. And I think Daryl Morey will make a deal tonight. That's my prediction. He will find a way to swing a deal to change up this roster, and he'll use that first round pick as part of the asset management, shall I call it, in the negotiations. NBA draft coverage begins at 7 p.m. tonight here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. As always, you can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Phillies are in San Diego tonight for a 4-game set through the weekend. We will talk about that, the Phillies' 3-game losing streak, and more with Steve Buchanan from DraftKings next. I'm Josh Hennig, and this is Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN FM, your home of the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, the NBA playoffs, the NBA draft, the Stanley Cup finals, and more. All that right here on South Jersey's home for sports, 97.3 ESPN FM, and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free, thanks to First Bank of Seattle.
It's the Stanley Cup Final on Sports USA, and we're in Colorado for Game 5 as the Avalanche and Lightning collide for the chance to raise Lord Stanley's Cup. The Bolts are charged and ready to strike with Paul, Perry, or Palat. The Avs are back home and shooting pucks out of thin air as Landeskog, Manson, and Makar. It's the Lightning at the Avalanche, Game 5, tomorrow on your home for the Stanley Cup Final, Sports USA.
Coverage begins at 7:30 on 97.3 ESPN.
With GMF financing, approved credit excludes Corvette and prior sales.
There's big news just announced from Bennett Chevy in Egg Harbor Township. Bennett's got huge savings on every new Chevy in stock. And right now, this is huge. Bennett's paying a record-breaking minimum $10,000 for any trade, running or not. That's at least 10 grand towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And we're loaded with them, so we're having a pre-owned liquidation. Hurry in for a minimum 10 grand for even the worst trade.
And just think how much more you'll get for a good quality trade.
As for new Chevys, unlike other dealers, Bennett's not selling over a factory sticker. Plus, there's 0% available financing. Stuck in a lease? We can get you out early, any make, any model, and we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one of ours. Stop in for a quick quote. Never any pressure, never any obligation.
Because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend.
So come on and find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us, no matter how big or small your business is. Earn back when you spend, get exclusive offers, and paint rewards. It all adds up to help level up your business. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards and Partnership Program today. Minimum purchase required. Earnings and paint rewards awarded as Lowe's e-gift cards. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Valid through 12/31/22. See Lowe's.com/L/pro loyalty terms. Subject to change. U.S. only.
Jamie's log. Progressive. The Harrington's backyard. Day 4. 2:18 a.m. I've been camping outside the Harrington house for 4 days now, proving that Progressive has 24/7 protection. Mr. Harrington says I don't need to do this since Progressive protects 24/7 is a pretty easy concept to grasp, but I'm going to stay and prove my point. Besides, there's a big tree branch over the roof, and I think it's planning something.
Progressive doesn't just offer a great price when you bundle home and auto. We offer round-the-clock protection, just not literally from Jamie. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers, and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
TracFone Wireless knows that everyone needs an endless amount of data, so why pay for it? Get unlimited talk and text with 8 gigabytes of high-speed data for just $40 a month. With unlimited carryover data, so you keep what you don't use. On America's largest and most dependable networks with nationwide 5G. Get high-quality smartphones at a great price. Just the data you need at the price you want. Learn more at TracFone.com today. TracFone Wireless, now you're in control. Available at major retailers, 5G compatible device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
John, what are you doing? Get in my car. So why are you walking to work?
Thanks, man. It's these insanely high gas prices. They're draining my bank account. I can't afford to drive anymore.
Dude, don't walk. Just do what I do because I never pay full price for gas anymore. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Oh, wait. You're telling me you get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200.
Wow, that's serious cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code DOLLAR for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's promo code DOLLAR. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code DOLLAR for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code DOLLAR for a $5 bonus.
Like bones, your teeth lose density and become weaker over time, which can lead to tooth decay. And that can make your visit to the dentist feel like this. But if you want your dental visit to feel like this, try new Crest Densify. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth by remineralizing enamel. New Densify from Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America. Smile, Crest has you covered.
And Doug. Chances are you're jamming in your car right now. And since Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance so you only pay for what you need, Limu and I are going to show you some safe car dance moves. Hit it. Everybody, check your blind spots real quick. Now hands on the wheel. Put them 10 in 2 and move your head like a bird do. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of a new laundry set that provides a powerful yet gentle clean in less time, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Get up to 25% off plus $750 instant savings on select appliances. Valid June 22nd through July 13th. U.S. only. Gas dryer extra. See store for details.
With GMF financing, approved credit excludes Corvette and prior sales.
There's big news just announced from Bennett Chevy in Egg Harbor Township. Bennett's got huge savings on every new Chevy in stock. And right now, this is huge. Bennett's paying a record-breaking minimum $10,000 for any trade, running or not. That's at least $10,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And we're loaded with them, so we're having a pre-owned liquidation. Hurry in for a minimum $10,000 for even the worst trade.
And just think how much more you'll get for a good quality trade.
As for new Chevys, unlike other dealers, Bennett's not selling over a factory sticker. Plus, there's 0% available financing. Stuck in a lease? We can get you out early, any make, any model, and we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one of ours. Stop in for a quick quote. Never any pressure, never any obligation.
Because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend.
So come on and find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
As always, we'll check in with you guys have to say a little bit later in the show. Keep the messages coming in at 609-403-0973 on the text board, as well as DMing the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank and CLC. But right now, Phillies start their 4-game set with the Padres. They've lost 3 straight. And here I thought that Rob Thompson was going to solve all of their problems. Well, the man who can answer at least some of the questions we may have about the baseball as a whole, because there's a lot of weird storylines right now as we are a month and 10 days away from the trade deadline. Steve Buchanan from DraftKings is back, and he joins us right now here on 97.3 ESPN. Steve, welcome back. How you doing?
Good, man. Josh, appreciate it as always, dude.
So let's start with the simplest thing. Phillies have lost 3 straight. Are you in or you out?
I mean, it's tough, right? Here's the problem is that they're losing at the wrong time because the teams that are ahead of them in the wild card race are also struggling, like the Giants. They've gone 5-5 over the last 10. This would be an opportune time to kind of move up in the wild card standings there. The Cardinals have been stumbling a little bit lately too as well. So this is probably one of the worst times to start going on a little bit of a losing streak. Not saying it's time to panic yet, but this would have been an opportune time to maybe gain some ground in that wild card, which, by the way, don't forget, it's expanded to 3 teams this year. So there's always that. But the 3 teams who are holding those spots right now, those are going to be some tough ones to knock down.
When you think about this series specifically, the Padres are one of those teams ahead of them. And tonight they got Joe Musgrove. He's basically their best pitcher out there in San Diego. So tonight might be an L as well for the Phils. But of course, last time they played a really good pitcher, it was Sandy Alcantara, and they found a way to outlast him. But to me, the problem with the Phillies is it's ironic that it's not the pitching. The pitching is not doing them every night. It's the fact that you didn't lose because Jurius Familia gave up those 2 home runs in Texas. You lost because you got shut out. It's like the offense has these moments where it's like, and we're doing nothing. Like I literally had a guy tweet me last night telling me the Phillies need either bench or trade Nick Castellanos.
Oh, God. I mean, you listen. You love people like that, right? They're passionate fans. They want to get their opinion out there, but it's like, it's not happening. Okay. If there's anybody I would actually love to have on my, Boston Red Sox, Nick Castellanos would be one of the guys that I would talk up there. You don't get him for his defense. Okay. You got him for his offense. And I know it's been sputtering at times too, but I mean, I think we could really kind of say the same for a bunch of these players on the team right now. Like, Kyle Schwarber, it feels like any hit that he does get is an extra base hit, which is great, but the rest of the time, it's nothing, right? And that's been your leadoff guy for a lot of the season. And it's just some of these other guys are just really Castellanos is struggling right now. I think he's hitting like 203 in the month of June or something around there. JT has not been doing his part. He's been the guy who's been hitting cleanup a lot lately. He hasn't been hitting well either. So this team And I don't have to tell you this, but this team has been extreme peaks and valleys. And you are in one of those valleys right now. And the unfortunate part is now you're facing a very good team in the Padres. I'm just going to say right now, I think the Padres end up taking the NL West when all is said and done. I think that team is the team to beat in the NL West. It's going to be very, very close, but they have the time to leapfrog the Dodgers, and they've already done it a couple times this month. The Dodgers are dealing with a number of injuries where the Padres are getting healthier, right? I know that Manny Machado is going down, but he's going to miss the IL. Jake Cronenworth is hitting like the hitter we've seen from a couple of years ago. And I know Tatis's return has been pushed back, but he is also coming back at some point. So while the Dodgers are losing guys, the Padres are either sustaining or they're getting guys back. So this is going to be a tough series. And when you're struggling to hit right now, like the Phillies are, and you're facing this staff with Musgrove and Mackenzie Gore, who's one of the Rookie of the Year leading candidates right now, it's going to be a tough stretch for this team. They have to try to take this series, but it's not going to be easy.
I don't know if they can win this series, but I think that at least for me, you win 2 out of the 4. At least you got something, right? Because to me, I look at it like this. I feel like tonight is most likely a loss because Musgrove.
Yeah.
The dude's electric. I think you can win tomorrow because you got Nola on the mound.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday's probably a loss because even if Eflin pitches, he keeps having to not pitch because he's got knee soreness, which is just, that's a little cringeworthy right there. And then you can win Sunday because Gibson actually has been pitching well overall, and Darvish is probably as Jekyll and Hyde as anybody. So I think there is a window to win 2 out of 4 here.
So I think what actually is a good thing that you mentioned this too, is that it's a good thing that they have Suarez going tonight, because you basically kind of chalk it up already as a loss with Musgrove going. At least you're probably throwing out I would say probably the weakest of the rotation right now in Suarez. Like, you wouldn't want to waste Nola against Musgrove tonight, whereas you could pick up the win tomorrow with Nola's going tomorrow. Is that what it is?
Nola's tomorrow, and it's at 4 for the Padres.
Yeah, so you get Nola tomorrow, you have a good legitimate chance of taking that game, whereas you wouldn't waste him here tonight. So I think it's a good thing that Suarez is going tonight, because the problem with the Padres too, they're so good against lefties, man. Like, they just crush lefties. Like, Machado's a big part of that, and he's obviously not in the lineup tonight. And to be fair, the Padres lineup actually isn't all that strong tonight. Machado's out, Cronenworth is out. It looks like a little bit of an odd lineup for the Padres, but they're so patient against lefties, and Suarez is absolutely apt to putting men on base. He's averaging over 4 walks per 9 inning, and now he's facing a very patient Padres team. So at least you have Nola going tomorrow, so you have a legitimate chance of at least evening the series out by Friday night.
You mentioned the wild card. Look, if we're just to assume that let's just assume the Padres are in already, right?
Sure.
Like, I just think let's say the Dodgers win the division just for argument's sake. Padres are like a half game behind. They lose the division or whatever. They got the 1 seed. But the other teams ahead of the Phillies all have very interesting conversations, because the Braves have been on a scorcher themselves in recent weeks. Milwaukee, I don't know what to think of them half the time. The Cardinals, I mean, outside of Goldschmidt, I mean, who do you really believe in that lineup half the time? And then you got Kapler's Giants just kind of like, hanging around. So it's not like the teams ahead of you are uncatchable, right?
Well, not only that, the teams behind you, forget it. It's already done, basically.
Well, you already mopped the floor with the Diamondbacks already.
Right. I mean, it comes down to, like, the only other team you really have to worry about, and I'll put worry about it in air quotes for everybody who's listening, is the Marlins. Like, they're just doing enough to hang around, right? They're not a threat, but they're just doing enough that it's like, okay, just go away already. But they're not. That's the problem, right? Like, it's every team in the NL East is doing enough to hang around, except for the Nationals. That's really what it comes down to. So that's a little bit of a worry, because, like, the Marlins is such a perfect team that plays spoiler, right? They're not really playing for anything. They're not really overly competitive, but they're a spoiler team. That's exactly what they are. But after that, forget it. Like, you're not worried about the Rockies, the Pirates, Cubs, National, nothing, right? There's nothing there. The teams that you really need to worry about are the teams in front of you. And I worry about if the Cardinals start going on a run, because the Brewers are a good team. They have one of the best rotations in all of baseball. But with that said, the Brewers are struggling right now. But if they start getting hot, Then you have really like two teams battling out in the Central. Now you're really closing your window because ideally 3 teams are coming out of the West is probably how it's going to shape up.
Probably.
But with the East starting to tighten up when the Braves obviously going on that run from, last time you and I talked, they weren't, I don't even know if they were even on that run yet, but the run they just went on really just complicated things in the East, right? Because it was the Mets and then you're playing for second. Now it's like, now the Braves are making some noise. So it's unfortunate for the Phillies part, but in a weird way, they need the Cardinals or the Brewers to start running away with that division so that it does open up one of those spots in the wild card. Because if the Cardinals and Brewers are playing about 500 the rest of the way and just battling it out, that's a problem for the wild card spot.
Yeah, that and also the fact that the Phillies, they have series with the Braves and the Cardinals coming up as well.
Yep.
So, by the way, you face the Cardinals not just once, but 2 different series, a 3-gamer, then a 4-gamer coming up. So you're going to see a lot of those Redbirds coming up if you're Philadelphia.
And they're good. They're good too. Like, we think about like, if I stopped you and I said, name 5 players on the Cardinals lineup, you probably couldn't do it, right? That Nolan Gorman has been fantastic. Arenado is smashing the ball right now. He's finally putting those naysayers away that he can't hit outside of Coors Field. He's hitting it. And then Paul Goldschmidt. That is your odds-on leader to win National League MVP as it stands today. He's been that good. And that's scary to think that at 34, he's hitting back when he was like in his late 20s because he is mashing right now. In the month of May, he hit over 400 for the month. Over 10 home runs. It's crazy how much he's hitting. Is it going to stay that way? No. But is he doing it at a time where the Cardinals can take that top spot in the NL Central? Yes. And that's where it really is scary because the Brewers are scuffling right now. Corbin Burns has not looked like himself this year. There's a lot of stuff going on in that NL Central, and I really think, like I mentioned, that's going to be pivotal for the Phillies' chances at getting one of those wild card spots.
By the way, the only reason why I think people can name 4 players is because 2 of them are Yadier Molina and Albert
that's
Pujols.
fair.
And they've been around for like 20 years. So I think
point.
people can name 2 at least.
Yes.
Maybe some people know that some people may think Goldschmidt might still be the Diamondbacks, honestly.
Right.
And some people may think that Arenado is still with the Rockies.
Yep, that's very fair.
But they'll probably be like, oh, Pujols and Molina, right? And you'd be like,
right.
Darn it, you actually named 2 guys who are still on the team.
You're totally right. Yep.
I mean, by the way, is Pujols living his best life right now or what? Like that dude is having a ball just being like, hey, I'm a part-time DH in St. Louis. I'm waving to the crowd every night.
Yep, he was just in Boston a couple days ago. We gave him a whole ceremony. It's like, I didn't even know this was happening. And like, for a guy that we never see, because he's in a national league, we never see, got a whole hoopla ceremony. Good for him. He deserves it, but yeah, you're right. Living his best life. Like when Ortiz was retiring, he was a full-time player.
Right.
Pujols is like, hey, every couple days he's out there. Is he? Oh, and collecting a boatload of cash too.
By the way, the other funny thing is Adam Wainwright is still pitching. I mean, it's like the Cardinals have like the AARP club going on here.
Yeah, I know. I think I played as Adam Wainwright in like MVP Baseball 2004. So, I mean, he's definitely stretching it out as much as he can.
Steve Buchanan from DraftKings joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, you can follow him on Twitter at SBuchanan24. I want to get back to the wild card stuff with you because you mentioned the Padres. The Padres and the Dodgers, that could be a fascinating situation at the deadline because, they're both going to make trades and they're probably going to target some of the same players. Like, the Phillies just saw Martin Perez with the Rangers. He's probably getting traded. You know what I mean? Like, and he might end up on either the Padres or the Dodgers at this point. I feel like both of those teams might be looking at the same guys, and it's going to be fascinating to see who ends up with who, because it reminds me of the early 2000s. I felt like every year the Red Sox and the Yankees look at the same, 5 guys, every deadline, and they'd be like, who's going to get them?
Yep. No doubt, and I think that's going to be crucial too, but it's funny too, because you mentioned it earlier. It's like, a lot of the problems for the Phillies early in the season was the pitching. Now it's been the offense. And it's like, if the deadline were today, what do you think would be the biggest need for the Phillies? I don't really know at this point. Like,
bullpen.
Do you use
That's what most fans would say.
And while I would tend to agree, you could probably say that about 85% of the league.
Right.
So aside, and it's not like the market is flushed with guys, because if everybody needs it, that means that nobody has it, right?
Right.
So besides the bullpen, what would be the biggest need? Like, I don't really know at this point. I don't think I could pinpoint, maybe you get some help at second base, but you are going to get Segura back at some point when he comes back from surgery. Like, maybe that's like the only real thing that sticks out with me. That's kind of the problem with the Dodgers and the Padres. The Padres really don't have like a quote unquote need. Like, of course, you can always use a back bullpen help. The Dodgers already made a move. It was a minor move to replace an outfielder, Mookie Betts, because he's on the IL. It was a very minor move, nothing that was earth shattering. But like, again, it's like overall, unless you're going to get another starter to replace Walker Buehler, there's not really a huge need for either team. So then it comes to the fact, it's like, are they just going to scoop up somebody just to scoop up somebody? Because Martin Perez, like you mentioned, is probably one of those guys. Let me tell you, I've seen Martin Perez a lot. What he's doing right now is unearthly. He has never been this guy. And I fear that if he ends up being one of the better trade chips around, someone's going to be really pissed off by the end of the year, because I don't think that's going to end up sustaining throughout this. I mean, he's been great. Like, I can't just, say that he hasn't been.
Yeah.
But that is not Martin Perez. That he has like a sub-2 ERA, like getting a decent amount of strikeouts. Believe me, when he was in Boston, and even when he was in his first run with the Rangers, that was a guy you were looking forward to facing on a normal basis, not the guy you fear facing. So I just think that's how it's going to shake out. And with the deadline being until August 2nd, we got a little more time to kind of figure out what these teams need.
One more thing on the Padres. How about the fact that the Padres' two catchers, one is Aaron Nola's brother, and the other one is a former Phillies prospect, Jorge Alfaro.
Yes, Alfaro. Yeah, Alfaro was with the Marlins too, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he was traded to the Marlins in the JT Realmuto deal.
Oh, okay, right. I knew
it was Alfaro, Sixto Sanchez, and I think there was one other guy.
Wow, that was a big trade. Wow, that was a lot of guys involved. Sixto's one of the better prospects. I know he's been hurt, but Sixto, they love him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't even realize that. That's actually a funny point to make there. I didn't even realize that. You're right.
Alfaro has blonde hair now for anybody watching the game tonight too. I don't know when
I did see that. Well,
I don't know when that started, but I saw that last week and I was like, when did that happen?
He's one of those guys like Eugenio Suarez with the Mariners. Like, he takes off his hat and I'm like, what? He had like purple hair at one point, and like it totally blows your mind. Like Jazz Chisholm's another example. Takes off the hat and you're like, whoa, I didn't think that was under there.
Right.
It's funny how these shape out. Yep, you're right.
The other thing I want to ask you about is a little more about the Braves, because you mentioned about the fact that, look, they're the team that's chasing the Mets right now. Okay, no offense to the Phillies, but the Mets have stolen that thunder.
Yep.
The Braves are a team, though. If there's one thing that concerns you about them, what is it?
I think their lack of depth is concerning. And it's funny that I say that today because they put out like this AAA lineup against Alex Wood, and they scored 5 runs in the first 2 innings. They absolutely slaughtered him. And I'm like, okay, there goes my depth, argument, because if they sat Acuna, they sat Austin Riley, and I'm like, oh, this is with a lack of depth there. And then they absolutely went out and destroyed the Giants. But I think the depth overall is an issue. And I think that might be one of their bigger detriments, because they've everything looks great and shiny right now because they just went on that extended winning streak, and now it's like, oh, this team has no issues at all. But you take one of those guys out of the heart of the lineup, if they lost like Riley, or if Acuna doesn't end up, he can't play every day like he's been and all that, that lineup changes drastically. Some teams can adapt to that. The Braves, I don't think, are one of those teams because they don't have one of those like super utility men, or they don't have one of those guys who can just step into another role. And I know the super utility guy is kind of like a dying art at this point. There's not a ton of those around there, but those are crucial guys that teams will be looking at come the trade deadline, because they need those guys to rest up and get some of these guys, ready for the playoffs. I don't think the Braves really have that. And to be fair, if that's their biggest need, then they're in pretty good shape. But I don't think it's understood enough how crucial some of those guys can be, especially down the stretch when some of these guys need a breather, because they have a lot of injury-prone guys on that team. And if they lose one of those guys, that team changes drastically. So I think that's where they're at right now. But again, if that's their worst problem, they're doing okay for themselves.
They might trade for Martin Perez as well.
Oh, yeah, sure, why not? Throw him in a super utility role. Yeah, absolutely. He does it all. He's the next Shohei Ohtani. He's going to be the next two-way player. That's what it is, Martin Perez.
I mean, the fact that Morton and Anderson are both have 4+ ERAs is probably not. It's probably making the regular Braves fans sweat a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yep. You know what though? They got a great farm system. Like they just brought up Spencer Strider. He's been, aside from his last start, he's been phenomenal. Great mustache, great strikeout potential.
First thing you said was great mustache.
Oh, have you seen it?
I've seen it, but I'm just saying it's like, oh, he's a great prospect, great mustache. Like,
well, yeah, I mean,
not the fastball, not the curve, not the.
Nope. You got to throw out the important facts first, and the mustache is number one. It's great, and in the era of Top Gun resurgence, he's got it. He's got it down. He's got it down.
It's funny you said that because when he pitched against the Phillies a couple weeks ago,
yeah,
they brought up the mustache during the broadcast. They should. On the local broadcast, they were like. I forget who it was, but Tom McCarthy turned to the guy next to him and he's like, how about that mustache? Just like,
it's on everybody's mind. So it's important. That should have been in the scouting report.
I mean, who has a better mustache, Strider or Miles Teller in Top Gun?
Oh, I mean, it's always going to be Miles, but Strider can be a close second. I think that's the proper way to rank them. Absolutely. But they got a great farm system. They'll be okay when it comes to pitching, when it comes to the farm system. They're very strong there. But again, every team is going to be looking to add, every team in contention, I should say, is going to be looking to add that prime starter, that number 2 guy in the rotation. I mean, one of those guys could be Perez. We joke about it, but he's literally going to be one of the top trade targets if he continues to pitch this way, whether we like it or not. But they absolutely could use that too, because especially when the Mets get back, their top 2 guys, not looking good for teams trying to catch them.
All right, that leads me to my final question before I let you go. I'm going to ask you a question that's going to make every Philadelphia and Boston fan cringe. Okay?
Okay.
Which of these teams is more likely to get to the World Series?
Oh, boy.
The Yankees or the Mets?
Can it be both?
You got a Subway Series on your mind there?
It could be. It could be. But I'll tell you, if you're from a betting perspective, best bet on the board right now is the Padres. They're 14-1 to make the World Series. To win the World Series. That's crazy town. That is absolutely crazy town for how good they are. Half game out of the NL West at first place. That's your bet right there. But to answer your question, the Yankees are the better team to make it. But I would not be shocked if we have a Subway Series again this year. Both of these teams are just too good at this point.
I think the television networks would love that. That's right.
Absolutely would. They absolutely would. And travel-wise, both teams would love it too.
Oh, well, that's true as well. I mean, well, let's be realistic. Nobody wants Seattle in a World Series ever.
Hey, I like Seattle a lot. I'd love to see that.
You and Seattle fans. Nobody else.
Nobody else. Nobody else. You're totally
nobody
right
wants that travel on their schedule.
Absolutely not.
I'll never forget 98 when it was the Yankees and the Padres, and they kept making a big deal on the broadcast about like, oh man, San Diego to New York's a far trip. And I'm like, I mean, that's a far trip. What happens if Seattle's in the World Series against like Atlanta or something?
Right? No doubt. No doubt. I mean, supposedly I'm going out for the All-Star game, and I'm dreading the travel from Boston to Los Angeles already. But I got a quick turnaround.
Well, that's for a variety of reasons. It's Los Angeles. I mean, come on.
And then all the travel issues going on. Oh my goodness! For a 2-day trip, this is going to be something. It'll be something.
I have before I let you go, I have a buddy of mine. He had to travel to Europe to cover a MMA event.
Oh,
it took him days to get back because they kept canceling all the flights out of Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Amsterdam. We're not talking about like, Belgium or something. Like it's Amsterdam.
Right. Right. See, that's my biggest fear is the cancellations and delays coming up. I mean, I'm only going to LA, but not looking forward to it. I might never make it.
He's Steve Buchanan from DraftKings. You can catch him on MLB Central during the week. You could also follow him on Twitter at SBuchanan24. Steve, appreciate you jumping on today. Enjoy the weekend and all the baseball.
All right, you too, bud. We'll talk to you next time.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. We'll check in with you guys have to say on the other side. Text board is open at 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also could DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night on your home for the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, the NBA playoffs, the Stanley Cup Finals, the NBA draft tonight, and more, all right here on 97.3 ESPN FM, your home in South Jersey for sports.
The Boston Celtics select Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. The Golden State Warriors select Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry from Davidson College.
It all started at the NBA Draft. The 2022 NBA Draft. Coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Listen to the NBA Draft exclusively on 97.3 ESPN FM.
The city, Atlantic City. It's a fine place to enjoy life until somebody breaks the law. That's where we come in.
We promote Springfield Mitsubishi Atlantic City, because they know
It's a crime to pay more than a dime. Every vehicle, one dime down.
even if you have credit problems.
We checked out the competition. Sir, how much do we need for a down payment?
Well, 2,000 down should do it.
Book 'em.
Wait, what are you doing? Every vehicle should be one dime down. But that's only at Springfield Mitsubishi Atlantic City. And they got that credit amnesty.
If you bring home $350 a week, you could get up to $25,000 in credit.
25 grand with only one dime down. Even the new Outlander with third row seating?
Yes, sir.
The all-new Springfield Mitsubishi Atlantic City.
In Pleasantville.
They service all makes and models.
Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com.
Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com.
New 22 Mirage 16 Ford, dime down, $249 a month for 72 months at 3% APR plus tax tag title to qualified buyers.
Hey guys, the Royal Management Team has gathered you here in Yield Conference Room to announce that thanks to all your hard work, the granary has enjoyed record profits this year. Nice. That said, there still isn't room in the budget for raises, but we will be providing gift cards to Grimwald's Tavern. Really? I'm sorry, I've been informed they are actually coupons, not gift cards.
Throughout history, people have always been underpaid. That's why Monster lets you search jobs by salary. Find your job at monster.com or download the app.
The uh-ohs are out there. Scratches, dents, unexpected natural events. But with Mako and their magic, your car is no longer tragic. So when life throws you uh-ohs, just say,
better get Mako.
And go to Mako.com to book your appointment today.
Like bones, your teeth lose density and become weaker over time, which can lead to tooth decay. And that can make your visit to the dentist feel like this. But if you want your dental visit to feel like this, try new Crest Densify. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth by remineralizing enamel. New Densify from Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America. Smile, Crest has you covered.
There's always something new at Bally's Atlantic City. Introducing The Yard, featuring beers, eats, and beats. The Yard, a beer garden-style venue, is a must-experience attraction. Open all year long, offering live entertainment, a gastropub-style menu, a curated tap list featuring local and national brewers, and a wide range of craft cocktails. Experience our 90s-themed arcade games, lounge-style seating, and an indoor and outdoor stage for live entertainment. Come join us at The Yard. Must be 21.
Make your 4th of July celebration even bigger this year with savings on everything you need to get your yard ready for summer. Make sure your flower beds and bushes can handle the heat with special savings on Vigoro mulch, now at a new lower price of $2.98 a bag. Keep the sun off your soil and water in the ground. Plus, add a fun pop of color that will last up to 12 months. So hurry in and get your yard ready for celebrating in the sun. Feels like 4th of July at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Available in-store and online. Color selection varies by store.
97.3 ESPN and TrackPhone Wireless want to share ideas with you for enjoying the great outdoors in South Jersey. Here are some popular outdoor ideas this spring. How about taking a walk on the Ocean City, Atlantic City, or Wildwood boardwalks? Or check out the perfect place to watch a sunset. How about the Point in Longport or the Cove in Brigantine? Brought to you by TrackPhone Wireless. Now you're in control.
What's all the buzz about cleaning your nose, nasal hygiene, and Navage? The science is simple. Your nose is the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses, but it's not perfect. Like washing your hands and brushing your teeth, it's time to start cleaning your nose too. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril to the back of the nose where most germs and viruses multiply, then flushes them out the other nostril before they reach your lungs. My name's Martin Hoke, and I didn't invent nasal irrigation. It's been around thousands of years. I did invent Navage to make it easy for everyone. In less than 30 seconds, you can clean your nose. And because it's all natural and drug-free, it's safe to use Navage every single day. Are you ready to join nearly 3 million people who use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier? At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Napa know-how. At Napa, we're teaming up with Castrol to bring you the epic Castrol Motor Oil Truck Giveaway, where one lucky winner will get a brand new Ford F-150 and then pile the truck bed high with $5,000 worth of their favorite Napa parts and products. Now that's what we call a truck with a serious payload. See complete rules on how to enter without purchase at CastroPromotion.com.
Napa know-how.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Offer ends 6/30/22.
At Wendy's, we make breakfast better. Like with our Breakfast Baconator. Better from top to bottom bun. Savory sausage patty? Better. Crispy oven-baked bacon? Better. Fresh cracked egg? Better. The Breakfast Baconator might just be the greatest breakfast sandwich of all time. So you can keep settling for not better, or you can get a better breakfast from Wendy's. Tough choice. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Better Breakfast. At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Progressive's Home Court Explorer lets you easily compare our direct rates with multiple companies. Now that we've covered something you could do, it's time for sports stuff you definitely could not do.
If you were head coach, you would not have gone for it on fourth down. Your confidence in your play calling ability might be a little overblown, considering you're barely confident in which restaurant to order takeout from, let alone choosing a play in front of 70,000 screaming fans.
But you definitely can use Progressive's Home Court Explorer to easily compare rates. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, Game Night being brought to you by American Airlines at Atlantic City International Airport. ACY now has your one-stop ticket to over 90 domestic international destinations. Book your next trip today at AA.com. Final chance for you guys to jump into the conversation. NBA draft coverage begins in about 7 minutes from now, top of the hour here on 97.3 ESPN FM. That's tonight. Tomorrow night, Stanley Cup Finals Game 5. 7:30 p.m. is the coverage here on 97.3 ESPN. So we got the draft tonight. We got the Stanley Cup Final tomorrow. And before we get out of here, I got to say, I understand there's a lot of people who are disgruntled after last night's result. I know for me, I kind of felt like it was inevitable. You know, look, should Colorado have been called for too many men on the ice? Yes. Was Kadri onside? Yeah, he was not offside. So the goal on his part was fine, but there probably should not have been a goal. I don't think it changes the outcome of the game. I think Tampa really messed up last night. I think Tampa had a real chance at changing the outlook and the feel of this series last night. And I think instead of capitalizing when they had the opportunities versus Colorado, I thought they dropped the ball personally. I think that once the game got deeper and deeper into the third period and got closer to overtime, it felt like Colorado was gaining some sort of mental or emotional momentum of some sort. It was kind of crazy because in overtime, I felt like they had the puck like 80 to 90% of the time. So I felt like last night, Tampa drop the ball. And if you were to ask me who wins this series, I think now it's Colorado. I thought going into last night, Tampa could tie the series and could win it in like 6-7 games. Now, not so much. I think that Colorado's win last night really put them in the driver's seat. Can Tampa go to Colorado and extend this series? Yes. Can Tampa force this series to go 7 games? Yes. But that 7th game is still in Colorado, and I think Tampa has already shown that they have limitations versus this Colorado team. I think Colorado is playing like the hungrier and faster team right now than Tampa is. And unless Tampa does something incredible in the next 2 games, I think this series is going to go to the Avalanche. Coverage begins tomorrow night, 7:30, Stanley Cup Finals here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Tonight on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank Seattle City. The NBA draft is next. I'm Josh Hennig. I'll catch you tomorrow at 6 o'clock following Sports Specialist Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN.